Tyrese was on Shannon Sharp show, and you know what I'm saying. He was talking his talk. So let me pull this up real quick. Oh shit! Did I do that wrong? Let me see if I can get that up. Hold on. I don't even know. I don't even know if I got the video up right. No, I didn't get the video right. Hold on, let me pull it up. But yeah, Tyrese was on Shannon Sharp show, and he was kind of talking about relationships and that um, he was breaking down how men deal with women and why it's a whole nother standard and all of that type of stuff. And so I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up and see if I can get that up real quick. But did any of y'all watch this Tyrese interview at all? Any of these clips or anything like
Yeah,
that?
I watched it.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I watched it. The one thing I thought is why niggas that got rich always want to come from the slums.
What do you mean?
He like started out with, "Oh, I was from where you didn't know if you were gonna wake up the next morning." I was like, "Nigga, shut up."
He was, I
For
think.
real?
I don't know.
What? I think that's his
I
story.
just hate that every
That
rich
nigga from
nigga
Watts, right?
gotta come from the ghetto. Nothing, nigga, shut up.
Quentin, that nigga's from Watts.
Yeah, he is from Watts.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
his.
care.
If you ever had to make it from that environment, Quentin, it's something to brag on, nigga. The
Nigga,
odds was not.
nigga, you don't know where I came from, nigga. Niggas got shot where I came from. That's why we fucking moved.
You
Then
got
you
shot.
can use that story too.
Like niggas get shot at the corner store where I came. What you talking about?
That was a straight nigga. It wasn't for you. They wasn't shooting at you.
No,
They was
niggas like
there to murder Quentin.
like I can't like a dude was walking down the street and somebody shot him and he like crawled to our door and like run a doorbell and ask for help type of shit.
But that's a part of your origin story. You need to get more pussy with that, bro.
I don't tell nobody about nigga.
I was gonna say that.
I tell people I'm from the suburbs and we leave it at that. Fuck all that shit.
Quentin, you just did the exact same thing that you accused Tyrese of doing.
I didn't do nothing. No, I didn't. I didn't say I came from nothing, nigga. I didn't come. I just moved. Nothing changed about me. We just moved, nigga.
Well, you just said people got shot where you was
I
from.
ain't gonna lie.
we moved, nigga. We didn't move
Well,
because
look, well, let me play a little bit of this real quick, and then I want to get y'all thoughts.
I was on the spectrum, and we started collecting insurance money every month. And me and my brother, we motherfucker get rolled.
Man, you in the people off and walking backwards.
What happened?
let's talk about what this nigga's
What
wearing.
event you got coming up? Now, come on, man.
I'm gonna try to find it. I don't know.
And then it leaks on TMZ because court documents is public. And now I got to go the next 6 months trying to get niggas to believe the truth when the lie will always get more traction. The lie is always more popular. You know what? If you don't think, if you think I'm playing, I'm gonna announce it early. If you think I'm playing, the day before you air this interview, I'm gonna tell niggas me and you got in a fight.
Let me see if I can find it.
Listen, man, all these men out here that are singing are trying to convince everybody in the world that they hate men, they don't need a man, they don't want a man, they don't desire a man, and that they can do bad all by themselves. Nobody wants to go home. Here's the memo. And I want the word. Do me a favor. Editor, whoever the editor, what's your editor name?
Well, CJ
I'm
coming.
a fast
CJ,
forward
okay.
part.
That's go through divorces, or you've been through a divorce yourself. Here's needs to go home to a poodle and a vibrator. Nobody needs to be alone. Nobody should be alone. This concept of being alone is bullshit. Because most of your favorite female singers that are out here singing this song are going home to their man, their fiance, or their husband. Whether you know it or not, that's on you. You believe that toxic ass shit. That's why you're filling up the arenas with it. Nobody wants to be alone, sir. No man. This is biblical. Companionship. Look it up, non-biblical people. So I was not devastated when my divorce ended because I wanted someone or something to be with me. I got married because I wanted to do it for the rest of my life.
I'll bring 2K on when its connection comes
because
back.
I loved the way I felt and what I had in my marriage and my family. It became a world within a world within a world. And it was a world that I had never experienced prior to that. Honeymoon, love, beauty, magic, everything, my brother. Fucking up there with the Care Bears. Floating, bruh. My God. Some shit.
What do y'all think so far about what he's saying about relationships and how nobody should be alone or nobody wants to be alone?
I agree. Like, cause like in your deepest, darkest moments when you're just sitting there, like you want someone. Like even me just sitting over here laughing by myself, I feel like an idiot. Just like laughing at a movie. Like have you ever just
Do you
laughed by
really?
yourself? It's fucking weird. It's weird as shit just to laugh by yourself.
Hmm.
No,
It's definitely people that want to be alone. I now I'm not gonna act like it's not strange, but it's definitely people that want to be alone, and they literally move people out their lives. People that could possibly be good for them. They find a way to intentionally push a lot of people out their life, and they're alone. And now I don't know if they complain about it, or if I don't understand some of the people that I know like that. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish, but they definitely don't want nobody to bother them. And I
that's
don't
different.
understand
That's different than being alone, not wanting to be bothered. Like they put niggas in isolation in prison for a reason.
that. Yeah, but you're not in prison. Like like they'll have somebody that they're dealing with, and then they just fuck it up.
Yeah, but I don't think that that's necessarily because that's what they really want. That's probably the result of something.
What do you mean, Carrie?
Um, I think that's probably the result of having had some kind of experience or experiences at some point in time in life, and you have labeled it, I'm safer alone, I'm better alone, I'm happier alone. I can't trust anybody, so I have to be alone. Like I have a pretty close family member who that's like the theme of her life story is that I have to be alone because I have nobody I can rely on or depend on because everybody has let me down. So I just because humans are naturally, like communal type creatures, for lack of a better word, in general. There's always an anomaly, but in general, I don't think that anybody truly wants to be alone in the sense of like long period of time, leave me alone. Unless they're on some kind of spiritual journey, I don't think so.
Hmm.
I hate saying this and it sounds so like feminine, like for a season. Like maybe they want to be alone for a season, but after that, mm-mm.
Right. Like
Like,
I can see it attached to a purpose, you know what I'm saying? But not like I'm just a loner, leave me alone and I really want it like that, like permanently. I just especially as you get older, I don't see that.
I remember when I first moved to Oklahoma, like and drive. I got off at 1 o'clock in the morning. I have a girlfriend, and that was lonely, knowing I was going back to my cracker box freaking apartment by myself every night. That freaking hit me in my soul.
Y'all weird. Y'all weird.
What? That's fucked
Y'all
up.
weird. Y'all weird as hell. Like I don't know. Y'all weird to me. I like being alone. I like
No, what
um I like being around people and I like companionship and but I also love being alone too. Like I like when I let's just say for example I have a long night. Like usually on Monday nights, I don't have nobody, there with me. Rita be out here with Leslie and stuff like that or whatever like that, right? And I go in and I turn in on a Monday, on a Monday night going into Tuesday. I'm ready to go to bed. And when I could spread out over that bed, and, I love having something to grab, but then at the same time, I love spreading out on the bed without having to worry about nobody in there or waking up in the morning and having to worry about whether or not, somebody wake up as a result of me going and taking a shower and getting ready to go into the studio next day. I'm cool with being by myself and I'm cool with being around another person. Like I'm straight. Like I don't be thinking to myself when I'm by myself, like, oh my God, I didn't leave. I don't trip.
But that's different than what I think he's saying. I'm talking about a person who's like, I don't want to be with the person. Like you have a wife,
Forever.
but you still have time alone. I will hope everybody loves to have some time alone, especially once you have a spouse and kids. But I thought I'm taking it as him saying somebody who is just not wanting to be with anybody.
Let me tell you
Like
something. For extended periods of time, listen, I remember I used to go and take trips by myself. Like, I remember a trip that I took by myself on a holiday. It was Thanksgiving, and I just didn't feel like being around no family members. And this was a few years ago. This was before COVID. Because I used to always take trips by myself to just like clear my head and shit, right? So I would just take a week and I would go to Vegas
That's different though, because it's like
by
being
myself.
alone is not.
By
No, being
myself, and I
alone
was
is
doing
also mental.
it
It's
during the
mental. You're
holiday.
not alone. You
What's wrong? Quentin, go ahead.
oh I said like being alone, like it's
What?
like in your head. It's like in your head too. Because like yeah, you go to Vegas alone, but you know like eventually you have someone to go home to. You're like
My
you're not
point is
alone
that
alone. You're by yourself, but you're not alone.
I don't believe in, for me personally, I have never experienced what loneliness looks like. Most times I crave, if I'm around too many people for too long, I crave being by myself. I love going into the studio and being there from 5:30 in the morning till being there till 10 at night sometimes.
This is semantics again. Being by yourself and being alone
No, no, no,
is
no,
Yo,
two different
no,
things.
no, no.
It's two
yo,
different things.
yes,
It's
thank you.
not. It's not semantics because the very example that you gave in the beginning was you were driving home from work and you had nobody to go home to. But here,
Alone. I'm
no.
why you
alone.
sound like Terrence
But
Howard?
Alone.
here's the key though. But here's the key though.
Man,
At some point, you knew you was gonna be able to call up a chick and come and fuck her, and you wasn't gonna be alone.
Nope. I just moved to Oklahoma. I was tapped out. The cupboard was bare. I
That's
ain't
not the
met no.
same thing. That's not the same thing of him as him having
let's
like a girlfriend or a wife at home.
Let
Like
me tell
that's
you
Someone
not the
something.
same
Let me tell you
obligated.
thing.
something. Let me tell you why that's not true. Because it's okay. Now we got to get into it. This is the good part of the conversation. This is why it's not true. Because there's plenty of people that are in marriages and in relationships, and they more lonely than if they was to be by themselves.
I said it
Having
was a mental thing. I
no,
said that it was mental.
listen. It's not mental. It's real. Because it's
You
not.
can feel alone in a marriage.
Because listen, I know motherfuckers that have been married for 30, 40, 50 years, and they made sure that they stayed at work and they worked overtime because they hated going home. Those are some of the niggas that was inside of the steel plant, right? And those are some of the niggas that worked at Ford and all of this stuff. There's plenty of people every day that got somebody to go home to, and they hate going home, but they do it because they have to out of duty, not because they desire it. So when we just use this and say and use a blanket statement and say, "Oh, okay, well, that's because you got somebody," that's not enough. It's not enough to have a body around. It's a difference between being alone and being lonely. I have never experienced
That's not true.
loneliness
That's
in
not true.
my life, and it's not.
That person always had a
Has nothing to
choice.
do. It has nothing to do with being married because you can be in a situation where you're still
No.
lonely because the person that you next to, for whatever reason, is not the person that you want to be next to at that time. You can be there. That's. I would argue that that's worse to be around people and to feel alone than to be by yourself and not be lonely.
Well, you just
No,
said it.
I agree with that, but
You
that's not
just
what we were.
disproved your
That's not.
point
How did I disprove my
Yeah.
point?
because you said that the choice was to stay at work. Like there's a choice to go home and be with the person. Like it's between your ears. It's like
No, it's
if
not.
you had absolutely nobody to go home to, ain't nobody picking up the phone, no choices, ain't no girls texting back. That's alone. There's a person at the house that you can go home to if you wanted to.
I believe that people, somebody just said it in the chat. They literally just read my mind. Cornelius Jackson. If you can't be alone and be happy, there's no way you can be in a relationship and be happy.
That's not what the question was. The question is,
But
do
that's
you
not
want
what
to
we
be
were
alone?
talking
I ain't say
about.
that was the question. What I'm saying
Can you
is,
be alone? Do you want to be
I believe
alone?
that people that are interdependent on somebody else in order for them to be happy, meaning that they can't be by themselves and be absolutely joyous, but they always feeling lonely when they don't have somebody else to go home to. I believe that those are some of the most toxic people. If you can't be absolutely ecstatic by yourself and you're not full alone, then there's no fucking way that you can be whole in a relationship. So when I see
I
Tyrese talking like that, I look at that as a fucking red flag. Because when you always complaining about something that is long gone, I think that that is an issue. You have to be able to be whole by yourself before you can be in a relationship, which is probably one of the reasons why you got detachment issues, Quentin. Because
I
Quentin,
don't have.
think about what Quentin said. Quentin said, "No, let's get rid of it. Let's get into it now." Quentin said, "When I was driving home from work and I was in Oklahoma, I felt so alone and I feel lonely." But guess what? Quentin today very much prefers to kick a bitch out as soon as he don't like her toes, like fucking Boomerang, like Eddie Murphy and Boomerang.
When I felt that way, it was
mm-hmm.
2000. When I felt that way, it was 2010.
They don't shit change. We
Yes, it
become more
is.
of what we
I
already
also
are. We become more of
I
what we are.
think this is where it's mental. I think feeling alone because I was in this little cracker box, like square box apartment. Like space does something for your mentals.
That's
I
not what you
think
said, Quentin. That's not what you said.
my whole premise has been it's between your ears is what alone is like. No,
I
because I
don't.
could be alone and be texting the world and be fine.
I've
Like
I've
I
seen
don't feel
people be in
alone if I
some
can
of the
text somebody.
I've seen people be in some of the biggest houses, and then they wind up being by themselves in a fucking small apartment and be feeling freer than ever.
It's not me. As soon as I moved to a bigger space, all my worries went away. I got a rent house and I had all the
Okay,
space in the world. It was great.
wait. So let's establish this though. Like, do we feel like the alone that Tyrese is talking about
It's
is the
forever.
same? What? I don't think he was
I
talking
think
about
it's
being
forever, like
alone forever.
alone forever, ever. And you don't ever is what he's talking about. I don't need nobody. I could be alone forever.
I don't. I feel like that. I don't need nobody. I can be alone forever. I love being around people, but I absolutely believe that I don't need nobody and I could be alone forever.
Anton, you can't. It does. You don't count. You're married. Like nobody
What does
can
that
count that
mean?
you're married.
He
So
said
you're
you
not
don't count.
alone. You have a wife who you live with.
So wait a minute. So you
You
telling me
don't
that?
count.
No, no, no. First of all, I got multiple different places. Okay, and I
So
spend the majority of my time down in the city, and they spend their time in the suburbs. So it's not like I'm forced to do anything. I'm out here by choice. So that's number one. But number two, how come? So wait a minute. My thoughts don't count because I'm married.
no, not your thoughts don't count because you're married. What I'm saying is you saying that you have no problem being alone. No, like you're not alone though. So
I
you
know
really
plenty of guys that are married, and they fucking can't make a sandwich without somebody that's around them.
no,
Like
you're bringing up a whole different. That's
they
something different.
need somebody. They need a woman
Wait,
around them, or they feel completely lost. Oh my god,
Well,
I miss my wife.
Anton,
I'm
I'm
Anton,
not that type of
she's saying
person.
the
she's saying
opposite of not being
you're exempt
alone.
from the loneliness because you're married.
Well, no, the opposite of not being alone is, I'm sorry, the opposite of, yeah, not being alone doesn't mean that you are needy of your woman. It just means you're not physically alone. Like you have another human being that you live with that is in your life for the long haul, that has been in your life for 20 plus years.
I think that feeling is a feminine feeling. That's a
It's
feminine
not a
emotion.
feeling, it's a fact. You're not alone. Rita has been in your life for
Oh,
over 20 years.
That doesn't mean anything.
Even
And that's
that
it.
means that you're not alone.
Oh my god. Okay.
In the context that he's saying, that Tyrese is saying, even the context, let me I think of the example you came in with, it assumes the person is alone long term. That's how I took it. No,
Blockbuster, I never, if I
not
never got
Yeah,
alone.
kicked out of the game. I never
yeah.
got kicked out of the game. I got took to the security tunnel. They gave me a little talking to. They realized that I've spent a lot of money, and I went back to my seat and I kept trolling. So let's be clear. Never got kicked out of the NBA game. Let's continue.
I'm so lost.
That lives matter, but don't worry, we gonna get there. I spend the majority of my time. I probably spend more time alone than people that are single, just because of my work schedule, just because of what it is that I do for a living, and the amount of dedication that I put into my craft.
I still would not there of all the words that could be used to describe you based off of what you have shared, alone is not a word I would think that someone would use to describe you. Now, maybe you work a lot and therefore you are alone at times, yes, but in the sense of what he was talking about, I think he was talking about being alone relationship wise. You are not with anybody. It's just you. Not you've never been physically alone for long periods of time. Like that's my scenario a lot with my husband. He's on the road a lot, so he's alone a lot. I'm alone a lot, but we're not I'm not living in a my life alone. Like I have a husband, he has a wife. I think Tyrese is saying
That is
these
a
people are
construct, Gary. That is
these
a
people are
construct.
following these people are following music and following women who give off the impression that they're good by themselves, that they're
Let
fine
me ask you a
alone.
question.
I,
Are there men that are single that prefer to be single?
Yes.
Yes, I believe so.
Is that the very definition of being alone?
No.
No,
No.
no, not at all.
So
I don't think so.
if they single, hold on, wait, because y'all mixing me up. Now I'm gonna see Sue, and I'm a little slow. If they're single and they prefer to be single, how is that not the very definition of being alone? Because you're using my marriage or your marriage to justify being alone, to justify to twist the definition of what we're trying to say of being alone. Now I use an example of a married couple that literally don't even want to be around each other majority of the time, but they stay married for whatever reason, and that wasn't enough. So if a person is single and they prefer to be single, how is that not being alone?
Well, just because you're single doesn't necessarily mean you're alone. Alone, you just are not committing to somebody.
They're
Like
Correct.
single.
that's
They're single. Hold on.
so
Let me
now.
say
But
it
if you
again for
told me
y'all.
they're single
Let me say
and
it
they
again for
also,
y'all.
oh,
Let me say
sorry,
it
go ahead.
again. They're single and they prefer to be single. Is that being alone?
No, you're changing words. I don't like what you're doing.
Yeah,